Hi, REeBroker Group agents. This is mainly a video for you regarding the BRBC, but hello, anyone else who wants to watch. I wanted to go over our BRBC, and this video is being recorded October 2024. So October 21st, 2024, in case anything changes in the next few weeks like it usually does. I wanted to go over the form itself and go over a few things. One thing is if you have any form questions, you are a CAR member. So once you log into CAR, you can go under Transaction Center, and Form Advisor and Forms Tutor is very, very helpful. So I did want to point that out for you all. Otherwise, if you want some mentorship, you can always join our mentor program. It is on the fee schedule. It's an add-on service. We already answer any question you might have about the transaction. But if we notice that you need a little bit more help, or if you notice that you want extra support, extra guidance, we are here for you. So let me start. So the first thing that pops up is the disclosure regarding the real estate agency relationship. This is always very important. You can see it's buyer, seller, landlord, or tenant. And as you all know, most of the time, most of the forms are updated to housing provider versus landlord. But we're going to be going over the BRBC, so let's assume you're the buyer's agent. So you just check the buyer's box, put in their name, have them sign, date, and you do the same for your information. This is our REeBroker Group, our license number, the agent, your agent information, and we'll keep going. Now we're looking at the BRBC. Let me do one page. There. You have to make sure you add the date prepared, the buyer's name, the brokerage information right here. Then this is non-exclusive. I'll go over this first. If you want it exclusive, you have to mark it in two different areas. So you have to mark it in, it says paragraph 2A2. So paragraph 2A2 right here, exclusive, valid, and only if checked and initialed in paragraph 15. And so you would just go all the way down to 15, which is right over here. And you would just have them initial right here saying that this is an exclusive representation. You don't have to make it exclusive, but if you do want to make it exclusive and the buyer agrees, that's what you have to do. You have to have a beginning date and an end date. And remember, this is not to exceed 3 months. After 3 months, or if you're seeing that it's taking you a lot more work and you want to charge a little bit more to your buyer for that work, have a new agreement filled out. And you can even put, let's see, in other terms, say that the previous ones are no longer valid if they haven't expired yet. So you'd put the date, you could fill this out. I would fill it out, the counties, the cities, what type of property you're looking for it, any additional description they want. Say they want solar panels. They don't want to get them. They want a property with the solar panels. You can write that in there. Then they can also provide you the form BIP, which is additional buyer preferences and priorities. And if they have other properties they already looked at before signing into your representation, they can enter them here. So this is the most important, the E paragraph. So the amount that you charge your buyer, we don't control. It's up to you and your buyer to negotiate the best amount to be paid to you. But you do have to remember the broker fees. So let's say you're on the capped fee schedule. Let me go on this page really quickly, the fees. If you're on the capped fee schedule, it's 8% of your commission, and it is calculated at a 2.5 minimum percent. We'll write that right here. So the broker fees will still be calculated based on a minimum agency commission of 2.5%. You can charge them 2%, you can charge them whatever you want, but we will be calculating 8% of a 2.5%. This is only for the cap broker fee plan. And you can always go to our calculator right here. You can click that and you can choose this percentage. We're going to be renaming it right here to cap so it's more clear. And buyer representation, and say the house is $1.5 million. And then you just calculate that. So your broker fee would be $3,000, and then our risk management would be $202.50. One thing, just as a reminder, the cap fee is that if you hit 15K for the calendar year, you don't have to pay anything anymore for the broker fee. You would just pay the risk management. Obviously, we do have the flat broker fee, and a lot of you are underneath that. For the BRBC, so now that you know how much fees are, you always want to make sure you ask for more than what you pay us, just so you can actually get a good commission. Where you would enter, you have to enter a very specific amount. So you either have to enter the percentage that you're asking for, which can be then, like, let's say 2.5%. You just want to leave it at that. You want to ask for 2%, maybe even 3%. You might want to ask always for a little bit more, because once you get into an offer, you can't. So you'd enter it right over here where I'm highlighting the little box. So right here, that's where you would enter the percentage. Or you can ask for actual amount, or the attached compensation schedule. Then, and it says right here, this is why you can't have more than what your buyer would possibly negotiate with the sellers, because of this paragraph E2 4G. Broker should not receive any amount in excess of what is in this E1 paragraph. So for E3 4C, if you showed your client, say, 20 properties, and they need extra time to make a decision, you can put a continuation period that they could possibly agree to after the representation period, or any extension. This will protect you to get commission, even though this representation agreement might be done. We'd hope that you would still want to represent them, and you would just re-sign a new one, but that'll be up to you too. Then the buyer can also deliver BFPI to you to help, for you to make the correct type of properties to show your client. But that's not required. It's just something that might be helpful. And then obviously there's other considerations here, like buyer does not have sufficient funds to pay broker, buyer intends to purchase with the following loan product, but this one I'm not going to really discuss because a lot of the lenders are approving it. But that's just something for you and the buyer to know. Say if the buyer really wants to negotiate with the seller to pay your commission, that'll be the case. So let's do an example. You did 2% of commission from the buyer. The buyer negotiates with the seller for them to pay you 1% with the SPBB. That'll be on the RPA in another video. That means technically that the buyer still owes you 1% for your commission, so that you can get a full 2%. If you guys are already in the purchase area and you want to help your buyer out because your buyer can't afford that, you can negotiate it using the modification of terms to say that it'll be only 1% now. One thing I did really want to highlight is that this amount right here in E14B has to match the last page of the agreement. So here, this is 16 has to be the exact same. This is because if the sellers agree to pay for your commission, they can ask to see this last page. And basically it can't be more than what they're going to be paying you. That was the NAR settlement agreement, and that's what it is. So you have to make sure it's the exact same amount. Just make sure it's the same. If you fill out this entity buyer for the buyer, they don't need to do the RCSD, so that's nice. One less paperwork, so you really do want to do that. And make sure to go over everything, all these other pages with your buyer, so they understand exactly what the BRBC is. And also you can see here that the BCA is also attached, and that's the broker compensation advisory. And that tells the buyers and sellers, they both have to sign this, what types of compensations the brokerages can get. Let me see if it was included in this sample. Yes, it was. Here's the broker compensation advisory. And so you can see that the broker agreements with buyers, so they can read these for themselves, that everything is negotiable, and the seller can pay the compensation if the buyer negotiates for the seller to compensate the buyer's broker. If you guys have any other questions, let us know. Like I mentioned, mentorship, we can walk you through this, but if you have any simple questions or just questions in general, we can absolutely answer them. Just email us. Check out the fee schedule. We did lower it a little bit because of the NAR settlement agreement. In the past, for dual agency, it was 25% of calculated broker fee of 5% minimum. Now it's only 2.5% minimum. So that should help a lot of our agents. Thank you. Have a great day.